game never stops, and neither do we. Welcome to the Morning Espresso on the SDH Network. We're always around the corner from everywhere, and the Morning Espresso is always brought to you by Oglethorpe University, Atlanta's premier undergraduate learning experience and soccer powerhouse. We've got playoff pressure. We've got MLS knockout games. We've got NWSL quarterfinals getting underway. We've got national team rosters that are coming out that give us a little reminder that the World Cup is closer than you might think. We're talking gut checks. We're talking call sheets, who's thriving under pressure, who is missing out, and what it all means in this wild stretch right now of November soccer. Let's start at MLS. You've got 5 game threes this weekend in round 1. Every single one of them comes with a lot of tension, a lot of storylines. Let's start in the East, and let's start with Hell is Real, Cincinnati and Columbus. These two teams have a ton of history. The Crew have ruined Cincinnati's season before very recently, and the Cincinnati fan base, after that Game 2 win, they're doing a little bit of math on the possibility of some deja vu. Pat Noonan talked about that last playoff loss to Columbus, and he said it was a crushing defeat, and it taught him about game management. The only kind of way you learn that is through those sorts of, I think, awful disappointments. The Crew are in rhythm right now. Wilfred Nancy's team put 4 past Cincinnati in Game 2. They're flying. The collective is all connecting right now. Should be an amazing Game 3 in Cincinnati. Tonight, you've got Charlotte and New York City. Charlotte has not scored in regulation time in this round. They've got to find some offense. NYC won in Charlotte in Game 1. Charlotte won in Game 2 in penalties after a scoreless draw. Charlotte gets to host Game 3. Dean Smith says the bank will be rocking. Pascal Jensen reminded reporters that NYC have already gotten a win there in this playoff series. It feels like a game that could go down to the wire. It feels like a game that will not be all that wide open. That's a shame. I think both teams are capable of giving more in terms of being bolder and more aggressive. We'll see if either one breaks out of, I don't want to say a rut, but maybe a little too conservative of a stance. We'll see if either one of these teams break out of that, or we get a moment of magic like Alonso Martinez gave in Game 1. Don't forget Miami and Nashville in the East as well. The Fantastic Four, Messi, Suarez, Alba, Busquets, trying to win MLS Cup together. You're going to see Alba and Busquets ride off into the sunset at the end of the season, whenever that is. Nashville would love to send them into retirement. This is where Miami fell last year. You remember that one very well, as Atlanta went down to Fort Lauderdale and ended their season. Miami is a project built on winning big trophies, and they have not won MLS Cup yet. I think they'll get through here. I think they have too much talent not to, but Nashville is a team that is capable of punishing Miami, especially on that counter. Miami's going to keep the game open, unfortunately, because they're just not good enough defensively, and they're going to get numbers forward because they always go chase it. The problem is, whereas we talk about like an FC Barcelona who is going to commit numbers forward, and people talk about, oh, you got to drop the line deeper, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that. Miami will be aggressive, but they don't have the legs to be as connected. So there's going to be space for Nashville to attack in, and Hani Mukhtar is brilliant on those kinds of counter-attacking opportunities. Can Nashville find enough of those, and can they be clinical when they need to? Can Miami just swarm and overwhelm Nashville and take care of business? I think Miami will, but this could be another drama-filled match. I think these Game 3s are going to be a blast. Over in the West, probably not going to be a blast if Minnesota has anything to do with it. They're going to sit back and they're going to defend against Seattle. The Sounders won Game 2. They did have to sweat it out. Minnesota made them work for it. I would love to see Minnesota be a little more open and a little more aggressive. That's not Eric Ramsey's way. They're going to try to bottle this game up. They did in Game 1 in St. Paul. We'll see if they can do it in Game 2. But Minnesota also will have a little bit of momentum. Even though they didn't win game 2, they were down 3-0 and they came back to get it to 3-2, and they made Seattle work for it. That could help them. San Diego hosting Portland is your other game 3. San Diego, I think, has enough to get through this. Portland has really given everything they could this season and in this playoff run. I think San Diego is just a little bit better. Let's go to roster talk now. The U.S. men's national team roster is out. Mauricio Pochettino, his latest call sheet has some surprises in it. Gio Reyna is maybe the biggest one. But you've got a bunch of injuries in the attack. I think people trying to make a storyline, and this has been a very frustrating element of Mauricio Pochettino's time here in the United States running the U.S. men's national team. I feel like people are trying really hard to play gotcha games with him or find something to catch him in a lie or to call him out. Yes, Mauricio Pochettino wants players who are in good form and are playing consistently at their clubs. Yes, that's what he wants. Well, you're missing Christian Pulisic, you're missing Tillman, you're missing Zendejas, you're missing Anthony Robinson out wide. You're missing a whole bunch of players. Weston McKennie trying to deal with a new manager now at Juventus again. A whole bunch of players are not here. So that opens a door for Gio Reyna. Now, does he take advantage of it? Well, we're going to find out. Yes, he's only played 150 minutes for Borussia Mönchengladbach this season. No, if all those other players were available, he would not be getting this call-up because that's what Pochettino has said. But what can you do? One, a lot of people were clamoring for him to be called up even when he wasn't playing, so that shouldn't change. Don't play both sides of the argument. Two, the door is open due to external factors. Does Gio Reyna take advantage of it? We're going to find out. And this is his biggest opportunity and maybe, possibly, his only opportunity between now and World Cup 2026. Pochettino said, sometimes players struggle to play, but they can still be important for us. I think this is an evaluation about his attitude, about his mindset, about what he does in training. All of that's going to be very important, as well as what he does on the field in this camp. Also worth noting, 9 MLS players are in the group. You've got Miles Robinson, Roman Celentano, Matt Freese, guys who are in the playoffs. So they're going to go straight from these Game 3s into a national team camp. 2 friendlies, Paraguay on November 15th, Uruguay on the 18th. Really good measuring sticks for this group of players. Who is going to take a big step forward? Is Gio Reyna going to be one of those players who takes a big step forward? All I can say is doors open for him, and it probably would not have been if not for the injuries. So does he take advantage of it like Christian Roldan did with a great summer at the Club World Cup and then very good performances with the national team when he's gotten those opportunities? Does Gio Reyna do the same? We're going to find out together. NWSL playoffs get underway this weekend. Kansas City Current, they won everything almost this season. They won the Shield. They set a record with 65 points. They set a record with 16 clean sheets. They begin their postseason run against last year's champions, Gotham FC. They are a couple seasons ago, Gotham FC. They look really unstoppable when Tim Wachoenga's healthy. But her adductor injury could change everything and come in a really bad time here for KC. Orlando, they open against Seattle. They'll be missing MVP Barbra Banda, but Marta still orchestrating, still one of the best players in the world. Seattle have Jess Fishlock, Emery Adams leading the charge. You've got a very interesting matchup between Orlando and Seattle. Washington Spirit hosting Racing Louisville. Fascinating to see this one. Beviana's playoff debut as the first American women's coach to coach in the postseason since U.S. Soccer President Cindy Parlow-Cone. Out west, Portland and San Diego meet again. Olivia Moultrie is the heartbeat of the Thorns now. San Diego, it's been a disappointing season for San Diego, but their French trio of Cascarino, Dali, and Moroni, they have scored nearly half of the team's goals. Off the field in the NWSL, they have announced a new advisory board. It's stacked. You've got people like Magic Johnson, Sue Bird, Chris Paul, Brandy Chastain, Eli Manning. Very big deal here for the NWSL on the advisory board side of things, and a very big deal with the playoffs getting underway in the NWSL. Now, let's go around the world and let's get caught up on some roster call-ups here. Argentina, they did call up Messi and Rodrigo de Paul for their friendly in Angola. Lionel Scaloni did not include anyone from the domestic Argentine league because they are going to play through this international break, and you've got title races and playoff positioning coming down to it. Spain, they bring back Lamine Yamal, the 18-year-old who started the last 6 games for Barcelona. Really strong Champions League performance midweek. Yes, there's some concern about literal growing pains, I think, when it comes to Lamine Yamal. Luis de la Fuente, the manager for Spain, he says it's a natural process. It is a little bit of friction between Barcelona and Spain, and hopefully there's no setbacks here, but he has been playing regularly, so it should be okay. France, they bring back N'Golo Kante for the first time in a long time. Didier Deschamps says he's back at his best level. France can clinch their World Cup spot in the upcoming round of qualifiers. Italy, they will need a miracle to do that. They will probably be going into the playoff. Gennaro Gattuso, he left out Federico Chiesa and Nicolo Zaniolo, even after both are playing well at their clubs. England, Jude Bellingham is back. Adam Wharton and Alex Scott get their call-ups. And Thomas Tuchel gets his kind of balance a little bit between a new wave of players and some of the old guard. FIFA has set their World Cup playoff draw for November 20th in Zurich. The 16 teams in Europe, the 6 intercontinental teams that will play their tournament in Mexico, reportedly, they're all fighting for the final 6 spots, 4 to Europe and 2 out of the intercontinental playoff. Here's your refill news from around the world, some quick hits to round out the espresso. Pep Guardiola, he will manage his 1,000th match this weekend against Liverpool. He's won 40 major trophies. He's won 71% of his 999 games, 715 to be exact. That's an incredible legacy and one of the best ever. His former club, Barcelona, they had 23,000 fans at the Spotify Camp Nou for an open training session. The goal, to return in late November with the license to host up to 45,000 seats. That would make it financially viable rather than renting the Olympic Stadium. Renovations continue towards a 105,000 capacity stadium by 2027. Juventus, they have added a investor. The crypto firm Tether now owns more than 10% of Juventus, and they have a seat on the board. John Elkann insists that the Agnelli family won't sell, but they do welcome new investment. They're trying to get a little more modern stability, Juventus. I don't know if a crypto firm is going to be the way to do it, but we will find out. The Superclásico in Argentina is on Sunday. Boca hosting River at La Bombonera. Leandro Paredes returns for Boca. Marcelo Gallardo's River might go to a back 5 as they struggle, but he just got an extension on his contract. This is always more than just a game. It's everything. It's identity. It's chaos. Who knows how many cards and fouls and all kinds of flashpoints we're going to see in this one. That'll be on Sunday. Really looking forward to it. And we'll stay in South America. Palmeiras and Flamengo, they have already booked their spots for the Copa Libertadores in 2026 ahead of the upcoming final later in the month. Palmeiras has set a valuation of 40 million euro on their striker, Jose Lopez, who's trying to play his way into the Argentine national team roster for the World Cup. Palmeiras and Flamengo have had good weeks domestically, and they are still kind of looking ahead a few weeks down the road to that Copa Libertadores final. That's your Morning Espresso for November 7th. It's going to be a busy weekend on my front, so if the Espresso is late on Monday, I apologize in advance. I'm on college playoff duty myself. I've got the SoCon quarterfinal tonight with VMI and UNCG down in Macon. Then I am hopping a plane, fingers crossed, to New Orleans to call the Sunbelt women's soccer final between ULM and between Texas State. Two teams that have met in a final before, which is fascinating, in a previous conference back in 2004 with both schools being called different things at that point. So it's kind of a full circle moment for both of them. ULM trying to win their first ever conference title. And then I'm coming back, and Sunday I'm down in Macon again for the SoCon men's semifinal with Mercer hosting the winner of tonight's game. So busy weekend on my front. Lots of games everywhere. Enjoy your soccer. Enjoy everything that we'll have for you on the SDH network. Make sure you catch the podcasts that we put out on Spreaker. You can get them on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, and YouTube, everywhere you go. Make sure you are following Soccer Down here on all your social media platforms. And I'll be back with another Morning Espresso on Monday on the SDH network, where we are always around the corner from everywhere.